For years, Martha Owens lived on the margins of what they called society in the picturesque valley of Pine Creek, Virginia. A woman of extraordinary temperament, accustomed to the mud on her feet and the silence of avocado fields, she carried on her shoulders the responsibility of maintaining the small farm she had inherited from her parents. While the wealthy ladies of Richmond paraded at charity lunches and country club gatherings, she fought against crop pests, accumulated debts, and increasingly unpredictable harvests due to climate change. And yet, she never complained. Her world was different, hard, silent, and solitary. The contempt of high society women was almost a ritual on the few occasions when their paths crossed. At community events, Martha was ignored, if not the object of malicious comments about her simple manner, her calloused hands, or her unbranded clothes. "The Queen of Mud," they would say amid stifled laughter, while she remained unresponsive. Mrs. Eleanor Montgomery, the mayor's wife, was the one who most enjoyed humiliating her. Her only consolation was her granddaughter, Emily, whom she raised, alone since her daughter Rebecca had abandoned everything in search of a new life in the city of Atlanta. This girl was her everything, her reason for getting up each day before dawn. "Grandma, why don't you respond when they talk about you like that?" Emily would ask, with youthful indignation in her eyes. "Because the avocado doesn't grow faster. If you yell at it, my child," Martha would respond with a serene smile. "It's the same with people. Time puts everything in its place." The first impactful event arrived when the local agricultural cooperative cancelled her distribution contract without prior notice. The harvest was ready, but there was no buyer. The loss threatened to devour everything. That same month, Emily's school began requiring a new uniform and an adjusted tuition. The emotional and financial pressure nearly broke her. "We can't lose the school, Grandma," Emily whispered one night, finding Martha reviewing bills by lamplight. "You won't lose it," she promised, although she didn't know how she would fulfill that promise. It was at this critical moment that the first unexpected opportunity appeared. A newly arrived agricultural engineer to the region, Robert Sanders, was impressed with the quality of her native avocados grown without chemicals. "Mrs. Owens, these are the best avocados I've tasted in years," Robert commented as he walked through the small plantation. "Have you considered participating in the Regional Organic Products Fair in Charlottesville?" Martha hesitated. "Those fairs are for people with resources, engineer. I barely have enough for transportation." "The product speaks for itself," he insisted. "I'll help you with the booth myself. Virginia needs examples like yours, not just large export companies." After much insistence, Martha gave in. With help from Emily, and using recycled materials, she prepared a modest booth where she would display not only fresh avocados, but also guacamole prepared with a family recipe and artisanal avocado oil that she produced in small quantities. The second surprise came with the unexpected success at the fair. Her products caught the attention of specialized buyers, particularly Frank Cortez, owner of a gourmet store chain called Essences of America. "Mrs. Owens, what you do is extraordinary," Frank said after tasting her guacamole. "The purity of flavor, the texture. This isn't found in industrial products. I'd like you to consider supplying my 3 stores in the region." The contract that seemed insignificant at first transformed into a greater opportunity, exclusive supply for the expanding network. Money began to come in, but with it came a new type of pressure. The company's lawyer asked her to formalize her brand, register the products, and professionalize production. "I don't know anything about these business matters," Martha confessed to Robert, who had become her informal advisor. "I'll help you," he replied with a look that conveyed something more than professional interest. "It's time for Owens Avocados to stop being a secret." It was a new world, full of demands and risks, but she dove in completely. With her first profits, she improved the irrigation system, hired 2 permanent workers, and bought a used vehicle to transport her products. Emily, now in high school, became her administrative assistant after classes. The third significant event exploded when a regional magazine published a report titled "The Guardian of Virginia Avocados." For the first time, Martha's name circulated outside the rural sphere. Her face began to be recognized, and as if at a masquerade ball, The same women who had ridiculed her now greeted her at events with fake smiles and forced invitations. "Martha, dear, what a pleasure to see you. We were just commenting on how interesting your project is," said Mrs. Eleanor Montgomery during the inauguration of a new municipal park, where before she wouldn't even look at her. Martha, elegant in her simplicity and wearing a traditionally hand-embroidered dress, responded with the same cordiality, but without forgetting. Her eyes, as deep as the soil she worked, kept the memory of every slight. "The pleasure is mine, Mrs. Montgomery," she replied, with a dignity that disconcerted the lady. "I'll personally bring you a basket with my products. They say avocado is good for the heart, and for the soul too." As she walked away, she noticed the murmurs behind her. They were no longer mocking, but of astonishment. The ignored countrywoman now had her own voice, and it was beginning to resonate more and more strongly in a society that had always turned its back on her. What no one knew was that Martha Owen's story was just beginning to be written, and that the seeds planted with such effort were about to bear fruit that no one had imagined. With the growth of her company, Martha needed to hire more staff. Owen's Avocados was no longer just her and a couple of workers. It now required administrators, salespeople, and cultivation specialists. It was then that she made her first mistake, hiring Sophia Matthews, a young economist recommended by Mrs. Eleanor Montgomery. "Martha, this girl is brilliant and has contacts throughout America," Eleanor had assured her with a smile that should have alerted her. "You need prepared people to take your business to the next level." Sophia, elegant and, with studies abroad, arrived with airs of grandeur and an ambitious plan to transform the small company into an international exporter. At first, Martha was dazzled by her elaborate presentations and sophisticated vocabulary, but soon she began to notice subtle changes. Sophia began making decisions without consulting her, scheduled meetings that she forgot to invite Martha to, and spoke of her to other employees as the lady who knows about farming but not business. "Grandma, this woman is sidelining you in your own company," Emily warned one afternoon, after witnessing how Sophia constantly interrupted Martha during a meeting with potential clients. The internal tension threatened to destabilize production. The employees were divided between loyalty to the founder and fear of the new administrator. The environment became hostile, especially when Sophia began suggesting changes that sacrificed quality for volume. "We won't use chemicals to accelerate production," Martha decreed in a tense meeting. "Organic quality is our identity." "With all due respect, Mrs. Owens," Sophia replied with a condescending smile, "but in the real business world, you need to be practical. Your folkloric method may work for a local market, but to export, we need to standardize." It was Emily who, applying the accounting knowledge she was learning in school, suggested conducting an internal audit. The meticulous review of the accounts revealed something surprising. Sophia had created a shell company that appeared as a consultant and charged exorbitant fees for services never rendered. "How could you?" Martha asked when she confronted her with the evidence in her office. There was no anger in her voice, just a profound disappointment. Sophia, cornered, tried to justify herself. "This is what everyone does in real business, ma'am. You're too naive. That's why you'll never truly progress." That same afternoon, Sophia was fired. The news spread like wildfire in the small social circle of Pine Creek. Martha, far from weakening, strengthened her position with her team. "In this company, we value two things above all else: honesty and the land that feeds us. Whoever doesn't respect both has no place here." The fifth decisive point occurred when the Rural Development Bank offered Martha a line of credit to expand her production. With guidance from Robert, who had become her right-hand man, and something more than a friend, she decided to acquire the neighboring farm Maple Blossoms, the same place where years before she had been rejected when she applied for a job as a cook because she didn't have the right profile to serve important people. The acquisition became regional news. The old Montgomery property, fallen due to bad investments, was now part of Owen's Avocados. Panic began to spread among the socialites of Richmond. They realized that the country woman had become an influential figure. Their husbands began consulting her on agricultural investments, and her presence at business meetings became frequent. Did you hear? The avocado woman bought Maple Blossoms. Maple Blossoms, the most emblematic property in the region, they commented with amazement at the country club. Martha wasn't seeking revenge, but her silent rise was uncomfortable for those who had previously looked down on her. Her way of managing the farm surprised everyone. She restored the main house while maintaining its colonial architecture, but transformed the ornamental gardens into productive areas where she experimented with lesser-known avocado varieties. The sixth turnaround came when Mrs. Eleanor Montgomery, at a charity gala, approached Martha with an unexpected proposal. "Darling, I've been thinking, our families could join forces. My son Ryan just returned from Spain with a doctorate in agronomy. What do you think about forming a partnership to develop a premium gourmet product line? I have contacts in Europe who are very interested." Martha, wearing an elegant regional outfit made by local artisans, looked her directly in the eyes. She remembered how this same woman had forbidden her children to play with Emily because she was the daughter of a nobody and the granddaughter of a servant. "I appreciate your proposal, Mrs. Montgomery," she replied with a serene smile. "But Owen's Avocados will maintain its family essence. However, your son is welcome to apply for a job like any other professional. We're always open to talent." Eleanor's face tensed into a grimace that tried to look like a smile. "How peculiar your response. The Montgomerys don't usually apply for jobs, darling." "Times change, Mrs. Montgomery. As my father used to say, the most flavorful avocado is the one that ripens in its own time, not the one that's forced." Shortly after, the seventh test came for Martha. Emily, now a brilliant agronomy student, received an acceptance letter for a specialization program in sustainable agriculture in Spain, a unique opportunity, but one that required a considerable investment that exceeded her savings. The dilemma was agonizing. Expand the business taking advantage of the bank credit, or use part of those resources to finance her granddaughter's educational dream. The decision, although difficult, was clear for Martha. She sold 30% of the company's shares to an investment fund of indigenous farmers from the region, maintained control of the brand, and secured Emily's academic future. "Your education is the best investment I can make," she told her granddaughter as she hugged her, "because you are the one who will take our knowledge further than I ever dreamed." This choice shook the community. For the first time, Martha was publicly recognized not only for her business success, but for her generosity and vision for the future. The local newspaper published an editorial titled "True Wealth, the Story of a Grandmother Who Bet on Knowledge." As Emily prepared to leave for Spain, Martha faced a new challenge: keeping the company running without her right hand and with the constant pressure of those who expected her to fail. What no one imagined was that the distance between grandmother and granddaughter would germinate ideas that would forever transform the agricultural landscape of Virginia. 18 months passed with the speed of a breath. The Maple Blossoms farm had been transformed into the operations center of Owen's Avocados, and Martha had firmly kept the helm of her company. The weekly video calls with Emily from Spain were her balm and motivation. Every Sunday, grandmother and granddaughter shared their discoveries. Martha showed the advances on the farm. Emily explained the new sustainable cultivation techniques she was learning. The eighth crucial moment came when Emily returned from Spain, not only with a diploma but with a revolutionary project under her arm, a digital tracking system for agricultural products. "Grandma, imagine this," Emily explained to Martha while showing her a prototype on her tablet. "Each of our products will carry a QR code. When customers scan it, they can see exactly which plot their avocado comes from, who cultivated it, what methods we used, and even a video of the process. Total transparency." Robert, who had faithfully waited for Emily's return while nurturing something more than a professional friendship with Martha, observed the presentation with admiration. "It's brilliant," he commented. "No one in America is doing anything like this." "Because everyone is obsessed with exporting volume," Emily replied passionately. "We will offer quality with history and a human face." The implementation of the digital root system transformed Owen's Avocados into a national pioneer. Each farm worker was trained not only in agricultural techniques, but in the use of technology. The old rural workers, many of them barely literate, now handled tablets and were part of promotional videos where they proudly explained their role in the production chain. Agricultural Entrepreneur magazine dedicated its cover to this innovation, and soon large national commercial networks began requesting their products. They even received an invitation to present their model at the International Sustainable Agriculture Fair in New York. From mud to technology, the revolution of American avocados titled an important national newspaper. The ninth determining moment occurred unexpectedly. In a ceremony in the capital, Martha was named one of the Transformative Rural Women of the Year by the Department of Agriculture. Dressed in a traditional Native American outfit that she had specially commissioned for the occasion, she took the stage with the dignity of someone who had traveled a difficult path without losing her essence. Her speech, brief but powerful, moved the auditorium. I never needed to be accepted to feel sufficient. I only needed to listen to myself and to the land that gave me sustenance. This land that many despise for having mud instead of marble is the same that feeds those who look down on it. Today I don't receive this recognition alone, but all the calloused hands that worked with me, especially my granddaughter Emily, who taught me that deep roots are what allow trees to bear the best fruit. The phrase became a national headline and was widely shared on social media. Martha Owens went from being the avocado lady to becoming a symbol of cultural resistance and entrepreneurship with identity. The 10th and final transformation came during the celebration of the Harvest Festival in Pine Creek, an event that Owens Avocados now sponsored. The facilities of the old Maple Blossoms farm opened their doors for a large community celebration. Everyone was invited, from rural workers to business people, from students to government officials. Mrs. Eleanor Montgomery and her circle of socialites couldn't miss it. They arrived adorned in their best finery, trying to stand out at an event that, for the first time, didn't revolve around them. During lunch, they surrounded Martha, offering exaggerated compliments and invented anecdotes about a friendship that never existed. "Martha, I always knew you would go far," Mrs. Montgomery claimed shamelessly. "Remember when I told you your avocados were special? I saw that from the beginning." Martha, elegant in her simplicity, responded with courtesy, but without forgetting her roots. While the socialites discussed the latest trend in imported handbags, she excused herself upon seeing Mrs. Betty, an elderly tapioca vendor who had stumbled. With naturalness, she helped her recover her scattered merchandise and offered her a permanent position in the organic market that operated inside the farm. From a distance, Emily observed her grandmother with pride while explaining to a group of young farmers how the tracking system worked. At her side, Robert discreetly took Martha's hand when she returned to the group, a gesture that confirmed what many already suspected. Between them had blossomed a mature and complicit love. The climax of the story wasn't a dramatic confrontation, but a quiet realization. During the central toast, when everyone raised their glasses, Martha looked around and understood the true dimension of her triumph. It wasn't the material wealth, which, although considerable, had never been her goal. Nor was it the public recognition, though she valued it as validation of her vision. The true panic of the socialites didn't come from the economic success that Martha had achieved, but from the realization that they could never buy what she possessed in abundance: genuine respect, authenticity, and inner peace. "To the roots that sustain us and the fruits we share," Martha toasted, looking meaningfully at Emily, who now directed the innovation division of the company. That night, when everyone had left, Martha walked barefoot through the orchards illuminated by the moon. Robert found her contemplating a young avocado tree that she had planted the day she bought the farm. "It's growing strong," he commented, embracing her from behind. "Like us," she replied, leaning back against his chest. "Sometimes you need to lose leaves to create deeper roots." In that moment, feeling the damp earth beneath her feet and the aroma of ripe avocados in the air, Martha knew that she had gained something that no one could take from her. She had remained true to herself while the world around her changed to adapt to her, and not the contrary. And so, under the starry Virginia sky, The story of a woman who transformed her life without transforming her essence was engraved in the collective memory of Pine Creek, not as a tale of revenge, but as a testimony of dignity and perseverance. Dear listeners, we hope that Martha Owen's story has moved you deeply. To follow this emotional journey through the extraordinary lives of ordinary people, we have prepared a special collection of equally captivating accounts about the power of perseverance and dignity. Find it here by clicking to your left. If it touched your heart to see how a woman transformed her destiny without losing her essence, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Every day we bring unique stories that celebrate the strength of the human spirit and the beauty of our cultural roots. Which character in Martha's story impacted you the most? Do you know someone in your life who, like her, transformed contempt into respect through honest work? We await you in the comments to share these stories that also deserve to be told.